So, what is intelligence really? Is it just about getting good grades, or is it something bigger? And now, with artificial intelligence getting smarter literally every single day, what does that actually mean for us, for our human brains? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. Let's just jump right in with our really direct question. Are you smart? And before you answer, I want you to really think about what that word smart actually means to you. Because let's be honest, for a lot of us, we're taught that being smart is all about getting A's on our report cards. But what if that's just one tiny, tiny piece of the puzzle? What if intelligence is way broader and honestly a lot more interesting than that? And that is exactly where we're headed first. We're going to completely redefine what intelligence means, and we're going to move way beyond the classroom to get a much bigger, more complete picture of what it means to be human. Okay, so at its absolute core, this is the scientific definition. Notice it's not about how many facts you can cram into your head. It's about what you can do. It's about your ability to learn, to solve puzzles, and to adapt when things change. Those are really the three pillars of intelligence. And this is where things get really cool. A Harvard psychologist named Howard Gardner came along with this totally revolutionary idea that there isn't just one single way to be smart. He said there are many kinds of intelligence. And that one idea completely changed the game and how we think about our own skills and the talents we see in other people. So, you ready? Let's explore Gardner's 9 types of intelligence. And as we're going through them, try to think about where you shine, Where do your personal strengths really lie? So instead of thinking about intelligence as this one single line, from not smart on one end to genius on the other, I want you to imagine it more like this wheel. It's a whole spectrum of different talents, where every single person out there has their own unique mix. All right, first up, we've got the ones you're probably most familiar with, the ones schools tend to love, verbal linguistic intelligence. That's your wordsmith, right? The great debater or storyteller. Logical mathematical is your classic problem solver, the person who just loves a good brain teaser. And then you have visual spatial. That's the genius of an architect or an artist, someone who can just see how all the pieces fit together in their mind. But this is where Gardner's theory really starts to stretch our definitions. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence. That's the brilliance of a top athlete or a skilled surgeon. These are people who think with their bodies. Musical intelligence is that amazing innate ability to just feel rhythm and pitch. And interpersonal intelligence? Oh, that's your people person, someone who can walk into a room and just gets everyone. And to round it all out, the final 3. Intrapersonal intelligence is all about self-awareness, a deep, deep understanding of your own feelings and what makes you tick. Naturalistic intelligence is for that person who just sees all the patterns in the natural world. And then there's existential intelligence. That belongs to the deep thinkers, the philosophers, the ones who are always grappling with the biggest questions about life itself. Okay, so if that is the incredible range of human smarts, what on earth happens when we try to build an intelligent machine? Well, this question brings us right to the birth of artificial intelligence. The whole goal of AI is, it's right there in the name, it's all about taking those cognitive abilities we were just talking about, learning, reasoning, solving problems, and actually engineering them into a computer system. And here's something that might surprise you. AI feels so now, right? But this dream has been cooking for a long time. The term artificial intelligence was actually coined all the way back in 1956. So the seeds for everything we're seeing explode today were planted decades ago. But how does it actually work? How do you get a bunch of circuits and code to think in a way that seems intelligent? Well, it turns out there are 2 main paths that developers have taken to try and get there. This is the fundamental question at the heart of it all. Do you give the computer a super strict set of instructions for every single possible situation it might encounter? Or do you try to build a system that can learn and figure things out on its own? And these 2 approaches are totally different. On one hand, you have the rule-based approach. Think of it like a perfectly detailed recipe. If this happens, then you do that. It's super predictable, super reliable. The learning-based approach, on the other hand, is more like learning to cook by just tasting thousands and thousands of different dishes. You just feed it a mind-boggling amount of data, and it starts to recognize the patterns all by itself. But here's the catch. Its process can become a black box. A lot of the time, even its creators don't know exactly how it came up with a particular answer. Now, you might hear AI and think of sci-fi movies, robots in the distant future.
But the reality is, it's already here. It's completely woven into the fabric of our daily lives, a lot of times in ways you don't even notice.
I mean, think about it. Ever wonder how Google Maps instantly finds you the fastest route, reacting to traffic in real time? That's AI. How does Uber match you with the closest driver in a massive city? That's AI. And when you ask Siri or Alexa a question and they actually understand what you mean, yup, that's AI too. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. We've seen the 9 types of human intelligence, and we've seen how AI is starting to master some of them, especially the logical ones, the pattern-based ones. But as it gets more and more powerful, which of these uniquely human intelligences do you think can never, ever be truly replicated by a machine? It's something to think about.